Now we can see some people. Welcome. There he is. Welcome back to Paranormal Witchcraft LLC. I am Tobias Josephson, and this is the channel on YouTube where we approach things differently. As you see, I think I've worked out the lighting issue. I went to Goodwill and picked up an old-fashioned lamp and ran an extension cord in here, so that way I don't have to worry about that one back there blinding me every time I stand up. The cats can stay where they are, etc. So welcome back, and tonight is titled Haunted, Living with the Ghosts of Trauma. All right, so the opening line is, are you haunted? And I mean seriously, are you haunted? Not in the way you think we're talking about. There's more than one way to be a haunted human being. Tonight we're asking, again, difficult questions. We're asking a question that most people don't want to answer. Are you yourself actually haunted? You'll understand at the end of the live stream what I'm talking about. Don't answer yet. Just let it sink in. Come up with your own responses. Don't type them all at once. Give others ample time to jump in and engage with us. So don't answer it yet. Just bear with us. All right. So let me see. I don't like the shadow under my nose. Let's do this. Yeah, it is what it is. So, are you haunted? Are you actually haunted? Or are you living with something internally that you just probably never processed and just don't realize it? This is not about trying to debunk. This is not about denying the paranormal exists at all. All right. So let that one sink in. This is all about how we interpret, how we perceive, how we observe what it is in life we experience around us. The experience can be real, but misunderstood. Haunted isn't just about locations. I'm going to be writing a book this year, and that's its title, Haunted, Living with the Ghosts of Traumas from My Past. And hopefully in writing this book, I can figure out what attracted me toward the occult, towards witchcraft, towards becoming a witch, towards becoming a very keen researcher and investigator. What is it that I'm not aware of that drove me to where I am today? Are you haunted? All right, buckle up, get a helmet, do what you got to do. But let's get started. Haunted isn't necessarily about locations. It's about people. It's about human beings. It's about Chris or whoever else is out there. What are you dealing with on a daily basis? What is your quality of life like? Are you haunted by something? It's about people. It's about me. It's about you. It's about fear. It's about our fear. It's about our trauma. It's about our emotional overloads. And right now, in this day and age where we're sitting right here today, wherever you are watching this across the globe, we are all feeling something. All right. Might be triggering something. If it is, you might be haunted and not in the way you think. It's about that fear, our fears, our traumas, our past, our emotional overloads, the things we don't talk about that doesn't get processed. And there is a pattern to it, like everything else, Chris. Big surprise. Big surprise. Thank you for remaining calm in the chat, my friend. I think that's going to help us going forward on social media, giving the chat time to breathe. I know you want to help it grow, but don't feel bad if you're sitting back in your couch and you're eating a sandwich. You don't have to type a response to everything I say. It's okay. I get it, brother. We were talking yesterday on Patreon about that mental health, dual diagnosis, the paranormal, witchcrafts, the occult. What drove us to where we are today? You know, when I left religion, it was for different reasons. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go become a witch. I wasn't thinking about witchcraft at all when I walked away from religion. They were personal choices. That's probably the most popular line you'll hear people say. But, anyways, moving on. Internal states and how we perceive them, our perception of those environments, and how we interpret the interpretation of is how we reinforce our mental and our emotional states. It starts with us inside. Cool. One of the paranormal witchcraft team members made a comment on Facebook. Thank you, Danielle. Danielle is usually one of the first people who will welcome you to the channel. It starts inside. It starts with your fears. What are you afraid of right now? What's stressing you out right now besides everything, everywhere, all at once? Just like me, just like our brother Chris, just like whoever else is out there watching. There's something weighing on your heart, weighing on your soul, weighing on your mind. Most people just power through it, and that's where we run into the problems. You're not addressing something, you're not processing something, and it creates a behavior pattern. Fear, stress, traumas. You go through life, you get kicked in the face, get kicked while you're down, you keep going. But then your perception shifts along the way. Suddenly things feel different, like they're being done towards you, when it could be just somebody's in a hurry and you're going too slow for them. All right? Could have nothing to do with you at all. All righty. Some of the most convincing paranormal experiences out there aren't external ones at all. No, I'm kidding. But if you think about it, most of the fear we experience starts internally with us. All right. Again, we're not here to debate whether the paranormal is real or the supernatural is real or ufology, or we're not here to debate the religious on, why we're witches or what they think about it. That's not what we're here for. Okay. We're just here to ask some questions, have some informal conversations, possibly do some experimentation with the paranormal or some craft. Okay. Which isn't for everybody. Right. But one thing we do have in common is our humanity. And one thing we do share is our mental issues. And I think there's a huge tie, all right? A huge topic gap that people just don't want to look at. And this is it. What is it about our past that have brought us to where we are today as practicers or paranormal investigation? Individuals or researchers or podcasters or interviewers or Paraflex, whoever it is out there. What brought you to where you are? What was it about the paranormal? What was it about the occult? What was it about witchcraft? That's what we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, right? Some of the most convincing paranormal experiences aren't external at all right? Now, some of mine are, but not all of them if we're talking about it in real time here. So be honest, have you ever felt like something seemed real, but later it didn't make sense to you? Yes, I have. In these communities, intensity get mixed up. Your intentions with the intensity of being anxious or being startled into being scared, the intensity gets the attention before your intuition does. Your brain starts making things up. The escalation gets validated before and maybe afterwards, after you've calmed down, after you left the event, after you've done the ritual, whatever it is that's after you up. All right. Maybe you will find that sometimes it was something you created internally. All right. Based on what you're thinking about and how effed up you are in your feels about it. And so maybe you went and did a ritual. Didn't turn out right. It was a boomerang and it slapped you right across the face. That'll happen. All right. That'll teach new hats real quick. All right. To pay attention to the discipline. Much like if you were raised religious, there's a discipline there. All right. You follow the word of God. You follow the Bible. You be a good person. You don't just talk about it and then not do it just because you think going to church every Sunday means you're forgiven. I'm pretty sure the angels and stuff up there are just shaking their head going, right? Humans have a problem listening to other humans. That's one of the biggest problems we have is closing our mouths, opening our ears to let someone else have a voice, right? But your perception changes over time, depending on what PTSD, what mental faculty you have. All right. I was born 3.5 months early. All right. I was dropped a couple times. If you look closely at my forehead here, you'll tell. If you look closely, you'll see marks on my forehead. And what I can do is I can literally flick myself and it will cause a welt on my forehead because I've been dropped by my parents. So that's why I was given up by my mom because she had to save my life. They had problems. They were addicts and alcoholics and they couldn't kill the demon and quit the addictions. And so mom signed me over to a sister. And so, you know, that scarred my brain. And so I have BPD and I have severe PTSD, traumas, etc. I have to learn how to slow down. I have to learn how to read people better, Chris, etc. Right? And so all those things created the person you see today. But for most of my childhood into adolescence, I didn't realize what was happening to me. It wasn't until later in life I started to realize I had patterns in my behavior. And then coupled with the recovery I do, I've come a long way. I used to be like a basket case, neurotic and codependent as fuck, and I was a people pleaser. And oh, yeah. It was bad. I would lie, cheat, and steal. I used to be a completely different person. I had buzzed hair all the time. All right. So people change, right? And as people change, the fear, the stress, the trauma, it changes us. And sometimes we're just going for our family, for our loved ones that we don't even realize that we're being guided internally because we're not processing correctly, because the world demands that we just keep going, right? And so we push it down and we push it down again. We don't talk about it, right? And what happens? You have a problem. All right. And that problem becomes an issue in your life because it'll come out in toxic personality traits. You might start smoking. You might start drinking. Might be addicted to sex or porn, right? Might find yourself playing the lottery. Something in your life has to give. Okay. Makes sense if you stop and slow yourself down. That only starts with meditation. Most people on the planet just go, I don't have time for that. Well, you can do it with as little as 5 minutes a day. We call it spiritual kindergarten. All right. Much like your first day of school and you were 4 or 5 years old. All these little kids look like you with their lunch boxes, and you would learn the colors and the ABCs, and you would take naps and recess, and right. That molded you, that taught you things. Same thing in magic, same thing if you're a Christian, you're religious. Everything on the planet has a pattern or a type of religion discipline or routine to it, or it just doesn't work right. Okay. What happens in our brains if things don't work right? Our body does the best it can. All right. It comes out in the form of depression. It comes out in the form of anxiety, shows up in the form of narcissism or egomaniacism. All right. Take your pick. Fear has as many faces as you can imagine, my friends. All right. Anxiety as well. All right. It's the silent things that really do haunt people to their very core. It's like a living nightmare, right? And sadly, there's no exorcism that can pull these things out of our hearts, our minds, and our souls once they are woven into our DNA back then. All right. We do kind of fall between the cracks, don't we, Chris? People misunderstand us all the time. They don't take time to listen, they push us away, right? They judge the book by its cover. Okay. Their internal states were never questioned. Nobody stopped to ask us growing up, are you okay? Do you need anything? Because we were a burden to people, per se, right? So when I went to live with my sister, yes, she accepted the responsibility so I wouldn't be an orphan the rest of my life and maybe die, right? But that internal stress on her changed her, my sister, as well, who raised me as one of her own, right? So think about that. Think about these things. These are deep, hardcore questions. When I say I'm a transparent person, I don't mean like our president, Mr. T, who says, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're gonna be transparent," and then nobody on his administration is being transparent. Much like some of the admins of the groups I run. Sometimes people don't tell the truth, and being a psychic, it drives me batshit crazy. Like, just tell me how you're feeling, Chris, right? Just using you as an example since you're the only one here, but I can feel what you're thinking or feeling. You're in a good mood over there. You're feeling better. You're sniffling still, but you've been in a good mood today, right? I can tell how people are feeling if I'm connected to you. Sometimes the psychism kicks in my back door and I don't want it, but I get it. It'll tell me things about certain people, like I'm good friends with Richard Williams. His grandma will stop by through me. I'll feel something, a message, and then it moves on, right? So people don't ask you personally, like, or myself, what it's like to be a psychic. For me, it's invading. All right. There's no privacy in my world anymore. That's why I stay away from social media the way I do. And then I had to go back, do some shadow work, Chris, which is called self service work internally. What parts of my personality were being rubbed the wrong way a few months ago? Was I doing something wrong? Were other people around me doing something wrong? This is what you do with shadow work. You have to cross out all the issues that might be causing you problems internally with yourself. Do you try too hard? Do you try to please people all the time? And then it frustrates you, it hurts your feelings. Yes, yes, yes. Then you might be dual diagnosed. And maybe, just maybe, most people misunderstand you and they just need to learn how to understand you. Most people don't want to do that though, right? Some of the most convincing paranormal experiences are external. In these communities, intensity gets the attention right away. The escalation gets validated. Everybody's excited. It was a great hunt. Everybody has all their thumbnails. They paid good money, drove across the country. They don't care if you faked it or not. They saw something, experienced something, blah, blah. We could talk about witchcraft in the same pattern. Fear becomes a curse. There's groups all over Meta where beginners will just go in there and ask for things they have no right asking. I need a spell for this. I need a curse for so and so. My ex this. I'm under an order of protection. I need help. Why is my life sucking? I just give up. Is there a spell I can do? Like, whoa, what is going on planet Earth? Okay. Number one is a witch. I steer away from those personalities because those personalities, Chris, are codependent human beings. That is a mental affliction, right? Most people don't realize they're being codependent until it's too late. And then you have to teach yourself what you've been taught. If you were raised that way, you don't know any better. That's a phrase I will use called ignorant, blissful ignorance. You were raised society, you look the other way, you try to please people because that's what good people do. I disagree with that. My generation was raised with you say hi to everybody, you try to engage with everybody, you hold doors open for everybody. It doesn't matter what they look like, it doesn't matter if they spit on your feet, you always show up in love and respect, right? And so most of today's up and coming generations don't do that. They pass you, they drive behind you because you're not going 50 in the 30 and they want to go 50 and you've pissed them off. Stop and think, right? You don't know. And if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know the pattern and you can see it and just that person's having a shitty day or they're just an idiot, let them drive like an idiot. Guiding your internal happiness is what we're getting to the point here. Is if you love paranormal investigation, if you love paranormal research, if you love being a witch or being a pagan in your practice, ask yourself a question. Are you internally being afflicted inadvertently sometimes in your ritual, in your discipline, in your paranormal research or investigations? It's a fair question. Are you haunted? Or are you internally afflicted? There's something you haven't processed. All intriguing questions nonetheless. I see some comments in here. What's up? How are you? Good evening. Nice to see a couple people still kicking from social media land. So anxiety in both the paranormal and pagan witchcraft community or the occult community, take your pick. They're kind of interchangeable, but they're not. I don't feel like debating that tonight, but that is also something that will cause practitioners to do that, especially the new ones. I think there's a huge wave towards spirituality right now. I think it's being guided by mainstream media outlets. That includes television. And yes, we're talking about those shows on paranormal that everybody loves to watch. Those people are performing. They are storytelling. They have to. All right. If they don't get any ratings. If they don't get any ratings, they get canceled. If they get canceled, they're just like everybody else on the planet and they can't handle that for their egos. Does that make sense? Makes sense. Let's move on. Now, for the pagan or practicing community, right? Doesn't matter what type you are, you'll find a lot of people use anxiety and egos there as well, right? You'll find a lot of new age people showing up into spirituality and they'll join groups like Witchcraft for Beginners or what have you, any co-ed group over there on social media that allows anyone who's just interested. All right, we're finding a lot of toxic individuals from the public just flooding in. All right, and what else does that do? That brings the bots right behind them. And then you throw AI craze in there. All right. And now we almost really can't tell already who's human, who's not, and who's telling the truth. Right. And that's where all these fake people are hiding at. The people on TV are hiding behind their ratings. That's why you'll never see them do live streams on YouTube or otherwise. They'll always be a guest, but they're always talking about their shows. You notice that? Always talking just about the shows. They don't want to deviate. They don't like those questions that poke. All right. I encourage you guys to go to events, interview these people on the spot, and see how many of them go, just saying, right? So anxiety and fear, like we were saying, can cause problems. You couple that with people's past, all right? What if you were born slow and people don't know it? Yet they won't take the time to get to know you. They'll just shove you aside on social media because to them you just look like something they recognize. Holy shit, hold on. There's that weather they said was supposed to show up again just like yesterday. So tonight we were talking about how our mental diagnosis, and feel free to talk to me about it, guys. That's something I do a lot in the background. I do so much service work, my head spins. Why I take so many mental breaks, because there's always people that tap me. I'm not kidding you guys. I finally went through a couple weeks ago and went through the 500 plus messages I have here on Meta, because the last year's just been a cyclone, right? And I can't tell you how many people ask, well, can you do a tarot read for me and see if my life's going to get better? Can you do a spell for me to see blah, blah, blah? Take your pick, right? So people want the path of least resistance. And that's part of the problem, especially on social media, right? Especially in an environment where people are hiding behind the screen, right? You'll never see them do live streams. Yet they'll talk about this and they'll say, I do this and I in their posts, but then you'll never see live streams. You'll never see 5 minute, you'll see nothing, right? They do all their business somehow remotely without talking to real people in real life. Confuses the hell out of people like me. Like, I don't know how people ever gain a following faking it that way, where you never see people on camera. If you're on camera on one social media platform, I would think you would do all of them. That's why I came here in the Patreon, try to simplify that. Just me, I guess. But anyways, so tonight we were discussing, what is it about our past? What is it about some of our mental afflictions that we don't talk about, right? Because a lot of people will avoid that first question we asked in the beginning like the plague. They will tell you all the stories in the world if that's what it takes to avoid answering the question. They won't look you in the eye. They'll make every excuse to not have to explain to you why this or why that. But yet their profile will say something like, I'm a good witch, or I'm all powerful, or whatever it is, right? And then you look at the paranormal and it just gets ridiculous over there, almost carnival-esque these days. Everything almost looks like a sideshow attraction. So tonight we are asking a question most people avoid. Are you actually haunted internally? And perhaps some of the paranormal or some of the ritual practices that you're doing aren't actually happening. They are being affected by something you haven't internalized or processed or got over. It can happen, right? So when we're talking about haunted, isn't about locations per se. Everyone's all about Annabelle's touring. Isn't that cool? Sure. If you guys think it's cool that it's one of the most deadly, haunted, possessed demon dolls on the planet is in a thin glass case being hurtled down the highway, left and right for the past few years, and that's great that you get to look at it and touch it or even hold it. That's awesome if that's what your mentality is. But you won't find people like me going, oh, let me, no, because I respect the paranormal. I respect the supernatural. I respect whatever is up there, the divine higher powers that we're all trying to just figure out, plainly put. Whether you're religious, Christian, metaphysical, a spiritualist, a shaman, a pagan, it doesn't matter to me. That's why I say everyone is welcome on this channel. We don't judge that way. We don't throw the rocks. We don't blow smoke up people's ass on this channel. All right. Anxiety and fears and traumas can create interpretations for us sometimes. Notice this is not the great debate here. We're not going, you're wrong and he's wrong and she's wrong and they're wrong. That's not the whole point of the life. We're just asking, what if? What if you have something you're not telling people about? What if it is causing issues? Right? What if your fear, our fear, the world's collective fear right now that's growing and spreading just like an epidemic? I don't see any difference. It is spreading like wildfire right now. People are just going absolutely insane with everything they do and say right now. That's what I see when I look around on the planet. Doesn't matter what color, what country, what government, it's all the same thing. Fear and anxiety. behind words of fear and anxiety. People join in because they don't know what else to do. Then you get the mentally afflicted, makes it even worse, right? And then we have things that happened in 2025 where people on a social media platform seek others with influence out and unalive them and cause shootings and huge worldwide disagreements on social platforms just to prove a point for what? So a few people can be right. That's called a false sense of worldwide community we're facing right now. And the most popular name it's known by is social media platforms. People are walking right into a fly trap every day, saying the same things, doing the same things, but talking about changes, talking about this, talking about that, not looking inside at all. But the fingers are going, the words are flying, the posts are being shared, right? So people are actually haunted more than they realize. If we look at the examples of social media or the mainstream news outlet, it has to be fear driven or nobody will watch. Why? Because people like being haunted, right? Maybe some people do. Maybe they have, you know, what is that mental illness where moms and dads would take their kids to the ER constantly because they really believe they were dying of something or their bones were broken, and Munchausen's by proxy, right? Maybe that's what's going on. Some people decided to become paranormal investigators or practicers, and they have severe mental traumas. We don't know, right? Maybe their fears, their traumas, their anxieties are coming out in their personality on social media or in their businesses. They don't know. Something I do say a lot is people will show you who they are. If you look closer, they mirror exactly how they're feeling, how they're thinking, and how they're acting. If people slow down, right, and pay attention. Right? And so let's give some examples. People's fear, people's stresses, people's traumas. There's trauma all over the world right now. Any way you can think of it, any way you can imagine of it. All right. And then some. All right. It's horrible what humans and humanity actually does to the planet, to each other. It's gross. Our perceptions change based on what we hear, what we see, and what we do. And more importantly, by those we surround ourselves with. So I would venture to say that probably 75% of human beings on this planet right now are suffering from some form of mental affliction. All right. I don't believe there is what we used to call in my childhood or teenage years normal anything anymore. All right. I don't think there has been for decades. I think that was something that was interjected by worldwide governments to make people stay calm for longer while things were being done. All right. And right. So I don't know. Interesting though. But some of the most convincing paranormal experiences people have had, if we slow down and think about it, weren't external hauntings, weren't external ghosts, weren't external demons chasing them down the hallway. It wasn't because of thumbnail, right? It wasn't because they have 8,422 followers on each platform and that makes them feel a sense of, right? Because that brain, that broken heart tells them they must, they have to. It's survival. That's a sense of anxiety. That's a sense of ego lying to you guys, right? Some of the most honest people I've ever met are the people like myself that can transparently tell you, yeah, I did that. I fucked up bad. Those are the people that deserve the respect because even though they've been thoroughly broken, spit up, chewed out, and booed off stage, they get back up and they still have the heart of an angel and they still have a heart to love everybody from all walks of life, no matter who they are or where they may be. Right? In these communities today, intensity is what gets attention. Fear narratives is what gets attention. Building anxiety gets attention. Why? Stability just gets ignored. That's boring. Doesn't do anything to me or for me. It's like reading a book. We don't want to do that. Why should we read a book? We don't need books anymore. Everything is online. You're missing the most fundamental point of the planet. Is as humans, we're not supposed to get lazier. We're supposed to be using technology to make our brains and our bodies work smarter, not by sitting down and doing less and talking more. The planet can do that. Anybody. Okay. Look at the world governments. They do it every day and they call it governing. Okay. Witchcraft follows that same pattern. All right. It doesn't matter what you practice. If you don't watch your mental deficiencies, that's why I always pause. That's why I rarely show people what I practice because one, personal practices are to remain personal, like the Book of Shadows, etc. But you'll notice I'll get up here on a live and I'll do a full moon ritual, or I'll get up here and I'll do incense, etc. Right? But you'll notice a lot of times I talk about the human touch, the human touch, the human touch, checking on our neighbors, because a lot of people I know are taking care of each in their own. But what I'm not sure most people on the planet are doing on top of that is remembering to check on their neighbors, remembering to make sure that old lady can get across the street without being bowled over by the kid next to us who just doesn't want to give a flying fuck. Does it make any sense? And it's these same behaviors that I'm seeing. And these people call themselves lead paranormal investigators. These people call themselves paracelebrities on TV. These people call themselves priests on TV. All right. They hold high titles all over the world, but it doesn't make a difference to this gentleman because all I see is their mental and their emotional behaviors being mirrored on camera. That's why I say I will talk to anybody. It's not to be a condescending or, oh, that's it, we're going to fuck this little guy up. People misunderstand me all the time too. This is the point I'm trying to say is you're just a human being. It's not the, oh, I'm better than that. No, it's, I'm not afraid to talk to the Trumps or the Moss or the Joe Rogans or let's think of somebody on TV or the Zach Baggins or whoever. It doesn't matter to me who they are. It does, but it doesn't. Their affluence, their success, their blessings, their celebrity doesn't really mean much to me or to our team or to the admin of Brotherhood of Male Witches. It's the character of the man, it's the character of the woman, it's the type of friendship we're actually receiving from people. It's not the think is called being a friend or being a popular person online. That is not. Okay? Be honest. That's what it's all about. All right. Show people who you really are because what most people need to hear online right now, today, in this very moment, is people like me see exactly who you are from afar. And that's why we stop the relationship from afar because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Is that even true anymore? I don't believe so. I think people use that as a strategy to get close to people. They want to dominate like everybody else on the planet. That's how I know the world is being dominated by fear and anxieties. And then you have people like myself who are dual or triple diagnosed, doesn't matter to me what I am, right? Trying to be good people. All right. You inject yourself into society. And what we're trying to tell the rest of the population is you've stood by for far too long talking about how it is to be a good person or how it is to be a paracelebrity, right? Or what it's like to be a religious leader or a person in charge of something in government. But what you've not done for decades and decades or even hundreds of years is shown people what it means to feel full respect, no matter who they are, what color their skin is, all right, or what they believe or what they say. That is what makes a great investigator. That is what makes a great practicer. There is no ifs, ands, or buts because of the world. Those are excuses. Those are the things Rocky Balboa and other leaders in the movie screens were trying to tell the people in the audience who just, wow, that was a great movie. You see those effects? You've missed the human tones of those popular memes we all love. It's about how hard you can get hit and slapped in the face and called names and illegitimate and irrelevant and not this and not that, and get back up and hold your heads fucking high, because it's not about so and so's voice or what they said to you or what they did to you. It's if you can hold your head up high, look those people in the eye like I am right now, and say it's okay. Are we getting through to any people today? Maybe, maybe not, right? It's your character that makes you great, not the fakery that gets you there. That is where the term trading your passion for glory does what every time? It slams the door in your fucking face, and then you get your feelings hurt, right? Right. Keep trying it that way if it's working for you. But I'm doubting for most of the planet that it's working, because you think being codependent will help, because you think being a people pleaser will make you more popular. If you dress a certain way, if you act a certain way, if you say you're a witch, if you say you're a paranormal investigator, that'll make people like you. No, it won't. In theory, it sounds great on paper, like we like to tell each other, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to leap off the page or from your brain, because that's the way it played out in your head. You have to do some work. You have to show up every day. You have to treat people with an open arm, no matter if they're kicking me in the balls or slapping me in the face, right? That's the way it's got to be. Okay. You have to learn what's important to you, being happy or being right. Even I have to learn that some days, even still. All right. Our anxiety becomes an attachment, like a friend. It's hard to let go of these traits. It's hard to let go of these behaviors. Nobody knows more than me. Nobody knows more than, other friends out there in the collective who are silently dealing with something because nobody's thought about asking. Well, it's online. How do I know? Well, because you never showed up as a real friend. Where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. How many kids you got? What you working on? That's a real friend, not a you show up once a month. Hey. If you send me a message, it just says something like, hey, what? That's what that response is when I don't respond to you. Or if you delete a message, then I'll never talk to you again until you talk to me. That's just how I am. Because why would you delete a message? Doesn't matter if you think that you're spitting fire at me. I should hear it. I want you to be transparent. I want you to be blunt. I want you to be honest. I want you to be uncomfortable if there's something to be uncomfortable about. But I want you to tell me the truth and not try to say I'm a good person and then you delete a message. How do you think someone like me feels? Especially if I'm picking up that energy going, okay, we're about to have a talk, and then nothing happens. That's going to frustrate me, right? I don't feel the need to have those types of relationships around me anymore. Okay. The he said, she said, smoke blowing, look at me. You have to pay attention to me right here and now. Why? I'm busy too. I have a life like everybody else on the planet. All right. People take the fact that you don't answer them right away. I don't understand that. This is why we're trying to get people to engage and lean in. And we're trying to ask questions, deep questions. And we're putting ourselves as investigators here and practitioners here on this channel, on the chopping block, as living examples. And people are just like, well, that's boring. It's because nobody's leaning in to listen to these lives. Why? Because it makes them uncomfortable to hear the truth. All right. People have to start talking about the elephant on the planet. You can't just go, well, it's just going to get big and there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, there is. You draw your personal boundaries. If someone's treating you like an asshat, you don't have to follow them around and go, you're an asshat, you're an asshat, you're an asshat. You just walk away from them. You unfriend them, block them if you have to. All right. But all this he said, she said, I'm King Kong or Queen Kong or whatever it is on social media, that is not a social media experience. That is nothing but one big, huge, worldwide argument. That's what that is. You can call it whatever you want. It is not healthy discussion. When I open my feed every morning and I see people just pretty much flicking each other off in different ways, all right, with different cultures, different tones, different memes, so they can feel good about themselves. But someone else throws a pebble their way, and what do? Flaming arrow. Oh, no, it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about, right? People are greedy right now because they're afraid. People are treating people like shit right now because they're afraid. Maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they do. Okay. So tonight we tested that. All right. And I would think we brought up some very valid points. Just because the world's going to hell in a handbasket and it's flaming right now, literally on fire. I know it. Chris knows it. Michael knows it. The whole world knows it. The goddamn world is on fire. There is not one government on the planet that can help us. I'm sorry. They all think they can. We all know otherwise, right? That doesn't give us the right now to walk around and be like, Tobias is better than Michael, is better than Chris, is better than whoever it is. Like, what are you people doing out there? Okay. Now, tomorrow, or I'm not sorry, not tomorrow. Monday we'll go a little deeper. So these live streams will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday for a few reasons. Here's why. One, I need time to eat. I need time to sleep. I need time to rest. I need time to spend with my wife. I need time to spend with my kids. I need time to tap the business members. All right. Whoever's left over there in paranormal witchcraft. All right. That being said, all right, we do have a Thursday members of Paranormal Witchcraft LLC Facebook channel live, 2 p.m. Thursdays every week, just for you followers. We talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, whatever's going on in the news, whatever's going on in governments, whatever's going on in the sky, whatever you guys want to talk about. Okay? That's what it's for. All right. I will be, lastly, announcing that in my interim, I have realized that I need a social media presence. All right. So instead of giving myself an aneurysm with all the stupidity and the immaturity and the disinformation and the disambiguousness and everything else that's floating around over there, all right, I went off. I did some service work, some shadow work, and I will be coming back to Facebook for the people that I love and the loyal followers of the Brotherhood of Male Witches. I've realized that I'm punishing those people that are looking for any leadership roles to stand up and bring some love back to the Brotherhood of Male Witches. And I fought this with every atom of my being. All right. But in the end, my heart could not deny these members: Chuck Avera, Michael Shrapshire, Stephen Pozwalski, Paul, Trevor, Andrew, and the boys. Many, many others. Are you ever coming back to Facebook? I don't know. Facebook doesn't want to work with anybody. But I've decided ultimately the show must go on now. That being said, know a couple things. Rule number one, it's going to be on my personal page only. So www.facebook.com/Tobias Dean Josephson. Times and days to be announced, because remember, I need time to live. Okay? Because my existence is not explicitly pivoting on this. Okay? My world does not revolve around social media bullshit. Okay? Just wanted to get that off clear. All right. And I'm not going to revisit anything in the past that was troubling me. All right. I don't know and I don't care. All right. I can just tell you this, that I will be coming back to social media very radically differently. Right? Much like this channel. All right. I don't want people tapping me, asking me questions either. It's for me to know and everyone else to find out. Okay. Because that's not what I'm there for. I'm there to find people like Chris and Michael Shropshire and Steve Podwalski and all the hundreds of people who do love Paranormal Witchcraft LLC, who do love Brotherhood of Male Witches. We're no longer going to be sharing people's groups. I'm sorry. I have to announce this again on camera because there's people not paying attention in my own business. All right. They're going to see the live eventually, or it is what it is, okay? Because sharing causes issues, causes disinformation, causes drama, causes arguments, causes personal resentments, causes jealousy, and I can keep going. It's just not worth it for my highest good to continue to do that, okay? Especially when all we're really looking for is friendships. We don't mean the social media friendships. We mean, hi, how you doing? I'm Tobias. I'm Chris. Great. Nice to meet you. How long you been on Facebook? How many kids you got? What are you doing in the paranormal? Great. You got a business? What do you guys do there? That is a real friendship. Not a yeah. I'm just going to accept someone's friend's request or someone's group request. That no longer flies at Paranormal Witchcraft and no longer flies on Brotherhood of Male Witches when it comes to myself. Okay? So if you don't talk to me, that's great. You don't have time to talk to me. All right. But those people who do love and do follow us, the Warrior Witch Army, all right, the Matts, the Chuck Averats, the people who make their best to at least thumbs up and try, all right, those are real friends. Okay. Not the I accept every friend's request. I'm a friendly person. That makes me a good person. Why don't you? That's not being a real friend. We're never going to talk. If we don't have things in common, don't join somebody's group. Don't just, yeah. I think a lot of people are doing that because they're just so concerned with everything else that's external. It's so important to them. I just have to have it. Got to check my TikTok. I got to get that streak. What do you mean you need a streak to be happy? Why does that make you happy? Think about this, guys. You might have a haunting of your very own internally. Why do you need that attention? What is it about the streak that makes you happy? Right? Slow down. Everything doesn't have to be that intense in paranormal investigation all the time. You're going to hit a ceiling, you're going to hit a plateau, and then what happens? Then you're standing there scratching your head because, well, I thought that's how you do it because they were doing it. I didn't know any better. We tried to tell you. You just didn't want to close this and open these, right? There's a recovery saying, close your mouth and open your ears. Do it for a year. Do it to make sure you're not going to go back out to drugs and alcohol. Do it, go to a mental rehabilitation place. Get your mind and your heart right as best you can. Get some help. But don't become something you're not. Don't become something unauthentic. Right now, there's so much unauthenticity that it's hard to tell people from Adam. Because again, people hide very easily on social media, don't they? Okay? Especially when they disagree with you. All right. So, that being said, yes, I will be coming back to social media platforms, but very, very differently. Okay. I don't have the time in my life. I don't have the energy. I don't have the words to spare that I'll never get back by wasting, right? I have paranormal investigations to attend this year. I have new relationships to find. I have a positive life to grow. I have a positive business to rebuild. See, every failure I have doesn't mean I'm over here crying or pouting. That's not what I'm doing. I'm making sure people can't see what I'm working on. I'm making sure people can't see what I'm thinking. Okay. Because many people are too inclined to post when they fart on social media. It's just a part of their life. I'm farting. Okay. That's not the type of social media experience people like I want. Okay. So, anyways, thank you for tuning in to our new ARC topic. Is your mental histories, is mental traumas, is the ghost or ghosts of your past afflicting some of your paranormal investigation evidences? Is your past, your dual diagnosis, is it sometimes inadvertently affecting your practice if you're a practicer? I can't answer that for you guys. But what if? Nothing wrong with it. It's something to be learned from. Try to catch yourself next time. Progress, not perfection. I think that's what makes the greatest leaders is they've fallen on their face the most. They've been ostracized, uh, publicly crucified, if you will, in front of the entire world. That guy will never make it. That girl will never make it. Your thing sucks. We're not going to listen to you. And then you look at them 15 to 20 years later, and they're on a stage, and the entire world has their attention. What is the difference between those people and people like most of what you're seeing on social media? It's the centered discipline. It's that indomitable willpower. It's that spark in my heart. It's the knowing in my brain and in my soul that I will get to the end of the race, that paranormal witchcraft will grow more, etc. Right? And other people like Chris and Stance Investigation and Michael from Sprad Paranormal, they stay focused mentally. They stay focused on the passion, meaning they get up every day and their heart just bleeds to read something more about the metaphysical or about witchcraft or paranormal, whatever it is they're into. Because that is where life is worth living. It's not about, I wonder if Sally's posting today. When did that become being a human being? I have 15,000 followers and I post when I go crap and I post when I change the channel and I, why can't you just go outside? I go outside every day. There's people out there. What's happening? You think you're somebody on the screen and then you go outside and what? You act the same way? I don't think so. I think a lot of people are acting on social media because they think nobody's noticing the patterns, right? The mental deficiencies are sometimes affecting their attitudes. Their mental are sometimes affecting why they came to magic. They're going through something hard in their life. They're trauma bonding with witchcraft. They're trauma bonding with the paranormal. Are you? I can't answer that for you. It's not my job as somebody who wants to educate others. It's not our job to get up here. You're doing it wrong. Bolt of lightning. Who does that to people? I was going to say the church, but that's a horrible joke. So, lords, gods, goddesses, universe, higher powers. I apologize for that tasteless joke, but you see what I mean with the example of using it, right? Some people maybe are doing something on purpose to fool others, right? Some people are aware they're effed up in the head and they'll do it on purpose just to see what people will do. All right. Maybe they're running with it and they're mixed in the paranormal and the craft crowd. We don't know. But there's so many people coming out of this AI technology movement or flap that it's really hard to tell who's human, who's not, and who's telling the truth and who's not. The best way we can prove that we're telling each other the truth is probably get on camera like I am and Phil and others and Matt or whoever it is out there on social media land and get up there on camera. People can see my face. They can hear my voice. They can see those other people's face. They can hear their voice. That's what I'm looking at right now on social media is who's real. I don't even know who's real anymore. How do I know people haven't been fake for years over there? I don't know. I don't know. because I don't see people on camera. I don't see people doing live streams. I don't see them doing paranormal research, or I don't see them doing anything. I see their business moving, but I don't see their faces as owners. As a business owner, I will always be at the forefront of the business. If not me, my wife. If not Danielle. If not Holly. Somebody should always be responsible for being the face of paranormal witchcraft. Just like when I'm live in Brotherhood of Male Witches, it's a serious thing. There's 13,000 people. It's not just I'll fake them all. I don't know where that logic ever came up with the younger generations, but apparently it has, right? So ask yourselves the hard questions tonight, my friends. We will see you again Monday at 8 p.m. In closing, thank you for joining, you awesome people. I'll take some comments we have. I never share my groups. That's right. It does cause conflict. People come to you, brother. You understand what I mean, though? Good man, Chris. Good man. We have a third. There he is. Your personal page. It would be better now. Well, I'll probably have that glitchy bullshit signal, Chuck, but there's not much I can do about that. I'm rocking a brand new laptop with attachment, with an HDMI, with a cord plugged in directly to my modem. I might bring a TV in here, put it back on that window, and put the modem right here, down there, and see if that'll improve the signal for the Facebook. That's about the only thing I can do. But yes, I am coming back to Facebook. Chuck, if you have a time that works better for guys like you, let me know, and I will pick your time over everyone else's, because you're working your ass off, and that's part of the problem with this planet. Is it has everybody afraid and anxious and full of fear, and they think, well, if I just make as much money as I can, like my wife, who makes very good money, close to a doctor's salary, and that's all I'm going to say. All right, she's got a master's, but she's working her ass off. She's off today, and she's already in bed. All right. And by the way, my wife's birthday is coming up on the 7th. Please remember to wish my beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, intellectual, badass of a wife, Fonda, Yvette Josephson, a happy birthday on the 7th. She doesn't look at birthdays but another day. But I've never had one single human being change my life as much as this woman. Now, that's not to say others haven't played a really huge part. Danielle, you know who you are, my love, and some others out there. But her birthday's on the 7th, and so I would like to see some people send her some love. I fall deeper in love with that woman every day. I'm not sure what it is about her, but I can tell you all the truth. She was definitely divinely guided. And I would like to say the same as for me to her, but right now there's varying opinions with our children and our past, and that's all I'll say. We have to swallow a lot of shit from our children sometimes, and it hurts, but we'll get there. Anyways, that being said, I will be coming back to social media. I see some comments. So, Mr. Avarat, what time would work for you, Chicago Standard Time, to do a live? Mr. Chuck Avarat, if you're still in here. Avarat. Avret. Avret, or is it like Avenue? Avret. Well, you'd be surprised how many people in certain ways have said that, especially in the Brotherhood, Mr. Chuck Avarat. But what you don't have to worry about is those antagonists. Like I said in one of the last lives you missed, they've taken themselves out of the Brotherhood. So my action of going in there and taking the walls down, literally, and leaving the ceiling and the floor, I don't have to do that because those people got the psychic hint that I'm not very happy still. I've forgiven, but I am watching, and there must be enough spies around there on social media, which, by the way, makes me wonder because I have not been pretty much like in your face on social media since the turn of the new year, pretty much. Pretty much. So it amuses me that there's still snakes or spies or whatever you want to call them over there. But nonetheless, there's people like you that I love and miss, Chuck Avarat and Mikkel and Devrin and Devin and Steve Pozwalski and other paranormal investigators. I miss everybody. And because everybody's just sticking to social media, I don't have too much of a following on this channel. So I'm going to come back to social media, but in a very different way. So I do appreciate that. Well, good. I'm glad there's a few human beings that feel that way. Now I just need to multiply you guys through the blessings of the universe, my higher powers, all right, to about 3,000 of you. And then I'll be a happy, satisfied human. See, I'm not looking to be Y Files. I'm not really looking to be like Jesse Michaels or anything like that, or anything like who's the popular witch everyone follows, because she follows everyone who's popular in paranormal. She just gold digging person. I forgot what her name is. What the hell is her name? I should know her because she bills herself as a good witch, but her real name is, what the hell is her name? She's attached to Paraflex. I forgot her name. But it's people like that I have a personal problem with. And I found myself having a resentment turning it into a judgment, and I had to cut that person off because it was like, I don't want to understand why you would have to say you're all powerful, or why you would have to say I'm a good witch in parentheses. It just boggles, makes my brain just go like a garbage pail kid. Like, just be an honest human being. There's really no reason on this planet right now to discern anything, keep anything separate. At this day and age, there's no fucking point of keeping your religious beliefs, or there's no point in trying to keep stuff separated. That's what bothers me, is people think I gotta keep it separate. It's my business and I have a family. Why can't you be both? My wife accepts me as a witch. She accepts me as a father, as a brother, as a person who's fucked up in life, as somebody who's suicidal. You don't see her judging me. You don't see her telling me to change. So why should we change for our kids? Because they don't understand. Do you guys understand what we're saying? Because we're that real, it's not our fault that the younger generations are struggling to understand. In time, as they mature, they will or they won't. There's too many humans on the planet trying to change because they're afraid of what? That people won't like you? People haven't liked me my whole life. And it's because they don't understand mental deficiencies make me hyper. They make me hyper vigilant. Okay. They make me analyze things before someone's finished a sentence. They don't understand. And to them, it's what? It's weird. It's not normal. I'm irrelevant. I don't know what I'm talking about because I have a problem sitting still. They haven't stopped to think that I was given away. They haven't stopped to think that I had to see my parents physically try to kill each other with weapons. They don't care, right? And yet I still have to sit up here and be a good human being, right? And so you'll see a lot of that in the world. What do? You lash back out like they do? Let them put you down. Let them look at you contemptuous because they have something internally that's bothering them. So they get louder than you do, right? Oh, yeah, well, I can do this. Oh, yeah, well, I wrote 7 books. Oh, yeah, well, I've paranormal with Zach Schrader and all of them. What kind of behavior is that? Who the F cares how many books you wrote? Who the F cares who you're hunting with? Who the F cares how many followers you have? I don't care what kind of car you drive. I don't care what you dress like. I want to know what your human nature is like. That's why I had to take a pause from social media, because humans don't realize how feral they are right now. That's a good word for it. Most people are feral and they're burying it behind labels. I'm a witch, I'm a pagan, I'm a paranormal investigator, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a professor, I'm an all knowing, I run this school of whatever. Everything has to be a multiple label thing, or you don't feel what? You don't feel special. You don't feel alive. You don't feel like you matter. You don't feel like you're somebody. What is it, humanity? If you can't be a paranormal investigator, what? That'll ruin your world. If you can't be a practicer, right? You can. But what we're saying is you can't do it from a place of hate. You can't do it from a place of hypocrisy, which is where the world's at. It's teetering on a place of hypocrisy. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. And the whole world goes, yeah, 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 no, no, no. Yeah, 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 no, no, no. It's like the Wizard of Oz here. What are we doing? We don't know, right? We really don't know. Just say it. You don't know. It's okay. Somebody's here to help you. We stopped asking each other for help. The whole world became a popularity contest. It's keeping up with the Joneses now. That's what it is. It's a soap opera. We can't watch soap operas, so we're creating our own on social media. Why? Because I don't know. All right. People do funny things. I'm glad you do. I hope there's regret running through those veins, but I doubt it, my friend. And that person was not the only one. There's a couple of them. There's a whole happy family of those fuckers. And I don't know what it is. They just don't like me. They don't like the fact that I dress the way I want. And I've always just been an authentic, transparent person. And it bothers people. Bothers people over there, bro. It bothers people. Kind of like Kevin Hart. I don't get it. I don't understand why people don't want to have more fun. I don't understand why people don't want to have more face to face conversations. Right now, it's all about we're going to talk about this subject and this subject and this subject. There's nobody talking up here about what's going on in the world. You're just talking about it and posting about it. Nobody's podcast. You're just treating each other like crap every day because you're mad and frustrated. Oh God, look what they did this time. Now our children's are never gonna type, 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 type. Whoa. All right. Whoa, guys. I mean, that's what people are doing right now. The amount of hate coming off their posts is like, ooh, man. I just said good morning. Good morning. How are you? Brr. Whoa. Okay. All right. Well, come back in a couple weeks. Whoa. All right. I just got disapproved for something myself. I was just going to say, hey, bro, I'm having a bad day, but never mind. Your day's ruined worse than mine. Sorry. Right? Happens every day. Right? Think about these things tonight. I want you guys to really let it sink in. Are you? The answer is yes. That doesn't mean you're a bad human. It just means you have some internal work to do. Right? It means you can learn from it. Doesn't mean you failed. Doesn't mean our business failed. It's all mental. Remember, the universe is mental, which makes you wonder, is reality mental? Maybe you're thinking about your dreams in the wrong ways. Maybe you're going after your dreams with the wrong actions, the wrong thoughts, and the wrong words. Maybe it's because your personality is that of an asshat and people are actually looking for advice. That might be your problem. Here's your sign, right? People don't want to hear that they have a sign on their forehead, right? Well, too bad. Blah, 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 blah. And they start a whole list of things on why their life is worse than yours and why the world's gone to hell and why they can't show up here or why they can't show up there, or better yet, why they can't talk to you when you have a question, right? Okay. It goes both ways. It's like that saying, the phone weighs 1,000 pounds when you need to call somebody and ask for help, doesn't it? Right? Really doesn't, because you can't let it out of your sight these days. You'll have a fucking heart attack or an aneurysm or both. All right. That's a problem. If your life is conducive because of not having the devices, you still have to use your brain. You still have to use your body. Just because we're using technology to try to teach it to lessen our burden doesn't mean we're just going to become nothing and do what are we going to do, right? Whatever we want, right? But we do have to treat people responsibly. We do have to treat people with love versus contempt versus, well, I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they said that. If you can't talk to somebody on social media and you have to delete a message or you can't say something you feel, then you probably don't have any business being on social media. Maybe the problem isn't people like myself or Chris or others. Maybe it's them, right? Maybe it's the world's problem that they can't see you for who you are. And then you just have to remember that every day with everyone you see and everyone you meet. I guarantee you, within 2 weeks, your life will get better. Don't take my word for it. All right? Try it. Don't hate unless you try it. It is a dark place at the moment. We're at a precipice. There's a prophecy. All right? I don't think it's going to be like Revelations at all. I think that's more fantasy. I think it's going to be more like Book of Enoch. I think we've already broken the fifth seal. The illusion of false community that I said earlier in this podcast. Don't know what that is? Look it up. And as we say in the Brotherhood, read a fucking book. Have yourselves a good night. We'll see you Monday. Merry meet and blessed be. I love you all. Thank you for stopping by. A rat. You know, I used to speak just a little bit of French. There was a time I was forced to go through Catholic school. I don't remember why or how, but when my other sister raised me for a year, and I was in Catholic school. So I remember it was every day we were doing French. Alouette, alouette, la la la, la la la. I forget the rest of the goddamn song, but every single day, start and end of the class, we sung that same fucking song. It was like hearing the Simpsons tune all over again. I could be asleep and now I can't remember it, but yeah. And so I had to be some form of Catholic school back then. It was weird. So it's I've I know I can say je t'aime. Right? I love you, je t'aime. So let's see. Avret? No, I probably said it wrong, but I'm close. I'm getting better. Definitely a fantasy. Well, yeah. Well, the sad part is I've recently gone through my Facebook profile and I've started cutting the dead weight. Like, not people like you and Chris and Matt or Phil, but all the other people who just accept every friend's request they get for some reason because I'm a witch or an investigator. And then they don't say boo. It's, I don't need that. So we're going to get rid of them. But that's what I mean. Growing up, like when I was really young, I really believed the revelations. Then I got older, I was like, I don't know about this and that. And then I got into the metaphysical, the supernatural, and then you tie in the Asmodeus when I was young as a kid, and I was like, oh, the occult. Let's go do some studying over there. Disagreed with the religion as an adult. All right. Stayed religious till I was, I think, 18 because I wanted to respect the people who raised me. I'm weird that way, chivalrous that way. But, anyways, and so I had some questions, came over here and found out a lot more. All right. And so, like I said, I think the truth, whatever we discover it is, right, whether it's demon, angels, what they actually look like, etc., I'm curious, right? It's good. I think the truth is far wilder than we even anticipate. So it's all a wild ride. I'm just here and along for the ride. Have yourselves a beautiful weekend. Tomorrow we will be attending something in Waukegan back home called The Crystal Flower there in Waukegan, Illinois, having their official grand opening tomorrow, and we will be there as business owners to support them, our friends, and they do call us friends. So I do travel hours to support people in real life. Have yourselves a blessed evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Makes my heart happy. Merry meet, blessed be. We'll see you Monday at 7 with yet another topic on haunted. Are we living with the ghosts of trauma, etc.? Good night, guys.